Hi everyone, this is Radhika here again. I hope you all are doing well. So, this video is about how to change your story. So, what happens is in a narcissistic situation, when you are a scapegoat, or this is for narcissistic situations, but generally in life, when something bad happens to us, like injustice or mistreatment, abuse, misunderstanding, or even indifference to the way you are feeling, neglect, etc. And when it happens from people who are close to us, like our family, our spouse, or our friends, or someone who we consider a part of our inner circle. It could be even in work environments, it could be your team, your subordinates, or your peers, or your bosses, um, etc. Any kind of injustice that happens, even by a stranger, actually, it creates a story inside your head, because you will react in a way to that story. And if you are on the receiving end of some negative, lower vibration energy, you will probably be a kind of like a victim in that situation. And no matter how non creative we are, we all create this story inside our head. And we are pretty attached to this story, because this in this story we are a character, right? And we have a personality, we have some identity, we have some sort of an like a character graph that our character goes through. And we are always weaving this story in our brain. Even if you are not aware of it, you are creating this kind of a story in your head. And sometimes in narcissistic situations, when we don't know it's a narcissistic situation, we could have been a victim, and we could have been bearing bad behavior from other people. Um, and that was our reality, and so we see ourselves as a victim, even in the story that we create for us. But since now you guys are watching this video, and you probably must be watching other videos and researching about narcissistic personality disorder, there comes a time when you kind of decide that I have to do something about it. And to do something about it, you first try to get as much as information about the subject that you want to. So now that you have this information, and you are at this stage where there is a realization of what NPD is, there are so many documents on it. And even the American Psychiatrist Association is trying to get it to a stage where it's actually a recognized disorder. I mean, it is right now, but very few people are actually aware of it. So at this point, what you can do is you can start changing that story in your head, because now the victim that once was a victim is not a victim anymore. Now that victim is getting educated and kind of getting stronger and harder, and understanding the surrounding better, wiser. So we need to start changing that story in our head. And instead of being a victim always, you can now start becoming the hero of the story. And there are like thousands of movies like this, like most of the movies in which the hero is really celebrated is kind of from the same template, that it's a good person who is wronged, who has to face some kind of like bad thing in their life, no fault of their own, maybe some past life karam that is like coming into this life. But that person has so much of understanding and realization that they see what is happening around them, and then they empower themselves and they become the hero. This is like the most de facto story ever told. And these stories are still popular, and they are popular for a reason, because it's a lot of people's story in real life. So when you see that story on screen, you really relate to it, and you get inspired from it. And a lot of people actually get a lot of inspiration and survival tactics from watching such movies. So yeah, so you can start changing that mindset in your head that there was this thing that happened to me, that doesn't define me, it's just a thing that happened to me. And now what do I do is going to define my future circumstance or my current circumstance. So because I was wronged, I became wiser and stronger and braver and ultimately a hero. Now I'm not saying that you have to be wronged to become a hero. You were a hero and you are a hero even now. It was just a part of your life in which you were a victim. But I think like Buddha had something like when he realized suffering. um, I think suffering is it plays a major part in understanding of life, because suffering is in Buddhism, it's actually not the English word suffering, it means impermanence. So anything that is impermanent, maybe you were happy once but the happiness changed to sadness, so that's impermanence. And now that you are sad, you are suffering. And why are you suffering? Because once you knew happiness, once you were happy. So, what he's saying is happiness and sadness are both suffering, because they are both impermanent and they are both going to keep on changing their states all the time. So, that's why I'm not saying you have to stay in suffering, but I'm saying that sometimes these things happen because you have to understand a particular thing, and then once you understand it to its core, you really understand it at a like a micro level, at a macro level. After that, you can actually micro and macro level. After that, you can actually start taking steps to solve the problem. But first you have to understand the problem, you have to actually accept the problem. So I think suffering has something there, but I'm not saying you have to stay in suffering. I'm saying now that you have understood it, now you move from that suffering and you need to get some tools in order to move away from the suffering. So this is one of the tools. You change the inner monologue that you tell yourself. You tell yourself whenever you feel like a victim, whenever your mind goes back there, because your brain, your ego is attached to that story. Now it's attached to the story where you are a victim, because it generates all these feelings in you, feelings of sadness, of some people think suffering is there is some merit in suffering in silence, and it's very hero like and this and that. But you will have to change that inner monologue that you have going on. And instead of saying that I'm a victim, now you can say like, no, I'm an empowered warrior, and I want to spread light and love in this world, because that's what I want to do, or whatever you want to do, that's what I want to do. But you can take what you want to do and put it there. So you can start changing your inner monologue and do this, really do this. Like, don't keep on switching between victim and empowerment. Stay with empowerment, stay with it. And little by little, the circumstances around you will start changing like magic. It'll be like magic is happening in your life, and you will start seeing the wonder of how much your thoughts affect your reality. And it is really wondrous how much they affect your reality. So you can try this out, and maybe try it out for a month. To help you reach an empowered mindset, you will have to kind of let go to the attachment you have to a victim mindset, because we do get attached to it because we feel like this is my story. And of course your story is important, everyone's story is important, but there will come a time when you will have to let go of your story and you will have to start writing a new story. And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay to let go of your old story, because if you don't let it go, you are going to hold on to that story all your life. Like, you will be 80 years old and you will still be feeling like a victim. So you have to let go of that story if you want to move ahead to an empowered state. And that's really something I feel you should everyone should do. You should let go of things that don't serve you anymore, that are done. They are done. They served a purpose in your life, and you have to let them go, because there are so many new stories that you can write. And until you let go of the old story, you are not going to be able to write the new one, because you have to make space for the new story to come in. um, so yeah, so another thing that you can do to help you out in this is watch empowering movies or read empowering stories, listen to videos which are empowering, um, listen to songs which are empowering. Also, like, pay a little attention, because some of these empowering movies also kind of focus more on the negative than the positive, so you don't want to watch those because they might trigger some things and take you back to memories you don't want to go back to. So yeah, you'll have to be a bit careful about this. um, yeah, and then a big part of this change is really uh, the willingness to concentrate on your own happiness versus other people's dramas. So, if you are really addicted to other people and their dramas, you will have to pull your focus back from that to yourself, to making yourself happy. And not caring for other people, what they think so much, what they do, what they say about you, what they think about you, is also a big part of it. I mean, I'm not saying all other people, but the people who are NPD, who show these tendencies, who put you there in the first place, you don't have to think about these people. So this is actually a vritti of the Anahat Chakra, and it's a very, very, very awesome vritti. It can also be called as shamelessness. You have to be a little bit shameless to just concentrate on your own happiness. And I'm not saying this in an egoic way where you don't care about others, but what I'm saying is on your own happiness till you get to an empowered state. And from that empowered state, then you try to help others, not NPD people if you don't want to, but help other people who want to get empowered, who want to do good, who want to get out of the drama and get into the good stuff. So so yeah, shamelessness is that it's not caring about everyone's opinion about you, but you have to stay on standard and stay on your own principles, and hopefully those are good principles. So, yeah, once your own happiness becomes your priority and focus, you will lead a much higher quality life. You have to stop focusing on other people and move the focus inwards to yourself. Um, so, yeah, so once you do this, you will be able to remain in the empowered mindset for a longer period of time. And maybe you switch to victimhood, because if you're in company of people who are NPD, or just life generally will sometimes take you to victim situations, but you will always have the tools and a mindset that you have now created, which can take you back to that empowered state. So it's like a roadway that you are creating to a new destination, right? So now you have these options. Now you don't have just the victim roadway to go to victimhood. Now you have another roadway that can take you to empowerment. So every time you can make that decision, where do I want to go today? And hopefully you will decide to go towards empowerment. So yeah, that was this video. As always, please subscribe, share, and like these videos. And I wish you all a lot of love and a lot of light. Thank you. Bye.